Good evening. Welcome to Love Talk. When I talk about relationships here on this show in Embrace Growth, I'm talking about every relationship in your life, but more particularly those relationships with the people that you are interacting with on a very personal and intimate level, the people who know you, who know your story, who know your faults, who know your strong points, those people who would support you or cheer for you, and when you're up against something will be there for you. When you've done something that you shouldn't have done, that you're out of line, that they'll come to you and say, hey, listen, that doesn't work. You have to fix that. And those people who just love you unconditionally no matter what. Also, those people that give you the worst problems, the biggest trouble. Some of that may be your teenagers, or some of that may be your parents, or your in-laws, or your husband or wife or boyfriend or girlfriend. Those people that have the ability to impact your life, that have, by giving them some part of your heart, some part of your love, by opening yourself to them, you've given them the ability to affect you and how you feel and how you think, and to literally shape the world that you live in. Our ability as human beings, when we say we fall in love, okay? Let's talk about that for just a minute. What people are prone to do. I believe that each of us is born, comes into this world with a spiritual gift that is so unique and so precious that at first we cannot be aware of it. It is so much larger than our capacity, certainly as children, to understand it or to grasp it or even talk about it. We feel it and we live it in some form in our bodies. When you see children who are fully alive and awake and anything is possible, it's because of their own inner knowing of their powerful and precious gift that is our own little personal piece of God, if you will, our own little personal piece of the universe that just lives inside of us from the moment we come into this life. Very often, as we grow up, we cannot carry this gift. We can't manifest it yet. And so we project it onto our fathers and our mothers, or onto our girlfriends when we're little kids and teenagers, and our boyfriends. So we project this light, if you will, onto another who for a moment in our life holds this gift for us. And when we see them, when we're around them, we become obsessed by their presence because we have projected our own light onto them, and in some unspoken or perhaps even spoken way, they have agreed to be the carrier of this light, the holder of this light for that time. Now, it was never meant that another person hold your light, your precious gift, forever, throughout their whole lifetime. But from time to time, and if you think back in your own life, maybe there were people when you were growing up, and especially around the adolescent years when you're just turning from a child into an adult and you're not quite sure and you don't have a sure footing just yet, and you fall in love. You see some person, and sometimes it's a movie star or a rock star or somebody who is, we call them a star. Why? Because they shine, because they carry the light, if you will. They're carrying the metaphysical or subconscious light of the projections of thousands of people or millions of people. And they have stepped into that light, and they're holding that light, if you will. But there's a time in everybody's relationship when it is a time to take your light back and to live it from the inside out. And that's where people get lost. They project their life onto another, and then they are devastated when that person either takes the light and says, thank you very much, see you around, and leaves, which is a kind of way of killing someone off, really, or when they do not reflect that light back. Many people get in trouble, and many of the people that we speak to on this show or in our private practice or in our seminars and workshops have projected their light, projected their brilliance, their special gift that they call their love, which is another way of saying it, projected their love onto others and have not received that projection back to them. Part of what I want to teach you and talk about with you and help you to grasp and understand is that your light is for you to carry and to shine on the world. Your light is for you to carry and to give your gift, your unique gift, to the world. Whatever that may be. It is not to give away or project onto others and then have them be the custodians, if you will, the caretakers of your life. And that's why we have so many people that are in codependent relationships, because they give all their power away. They give it all to somebody. There are unfortunately many people in the world who have given their life away, and so when somebody projects a lot of love and light and energy onto them, they steal it and don't give it back. They just take it away. Now, I'm speaking in metaphors here, of course. I'm speaking in metaphors about how people in codependent relationships, often there are people like certain gurus, spiritual teachers, religious leaders, claim to be, or who stand up for being, the source of light. And people who are ignorant, who are uneducated, and who don't know any better, projected and given their faith, their trust, their energy, their dedication and devotion to these spiritual, religious, or leaders, or it could be a rock and roll star. It could be a lot of things, right? It could be a lot of charismatic people who are in the business of collecting the light, if you will, stimulating and collecting the love and devotion of people and not reflecting it back, saying, thank you very much, this is mine, this is what I deserve, I should have. It is in very, very real way a type of spiritual homicide, if you will, where you actually leave people hopeless and leaving people in a state of disconnection from who they truly are. I think if there were adequate description of evil, that the most adequate description I could come up with would be to manipulate or trick someone into giving you their love and devotion and convincing them that they need you in order to find out who they are. If they want to accomplish their mission or fulfill their destiny, that you somehow must be connected with that. And I think that that's what most religions do. Many political systems do that. Many spiritual gurus who have, maybe they don't consciously even know that's what they're doing. Maybe they actually believe their own story about that. And many people have seen this model, they've been a part of this model, they grew up from parents who lived inside this model, this illusionary model of what love is, this codependent relationship, such that it's the only model they have. So when they find somebody that they care about, or somebody that has a particularly charismatic light about them, or somebody that sparks some interest in them, then they immediately want to give away their power and give away their love, and they end up empty inside. They end up with no real life of their own and no real light of their own, and then they spend their time, they spend thousands of dollars going to seminars and workshops, relationship courses, therapy, buying books and tapes and CDs and DVDs. I know, because I'm in that business. That's, I'll always be in business as long as I stay in that business, because people never learn, okay? I would like to put myself out of business by having people learn the lessons so that they don't have to keep repeating them over and over. And most of the books and CDs and DVDs and lessons that you will learn are lessons about how to deal with the pain and suffering caused by those things. Very few teachers are teaching you how to take your life back, how to take your life back and how to live your life, and how to share your life from a place of power and fulfillment, plenitude, a place of generosity and abundance and prosperity, rather than grasping for rules and techniques and ways to manipulate others so that they will behave in some particular way to end your suffering. Most of the people that are in trouble in their relationships and in their lives have mistaken, have no way of dealing with or distinguishing the inner world from the outer world. They've got the outer world and the inner world all mixed up, and they're all in the same basket together. And there are very real inner realities that are very personal and very profound and very distinct from what's going on out there in the outer world. And most people have them all collapsed together, and it's like they're trying to brush the teeth in the mirror to get their own teeth clean, or they're trying to comb the hair in the mirror to get their own hair straight. They've confused the reflection of the inner world with being the inner world. There's the theory of something, and then there's the practice. If you want to master anything, whether it be piano or martial arts or painting or love and relationships, if you want to master something, There's the theory about it, and that's where you go to class and you take notes, or you study and you listen to books and CDs and DVDs, and you watch television shows like this, and you accumulate some knowledge. But knowledge passes through 4 phases, okay? And I'll tell you what they are. One is the gathering of knowledge, which is what you're doing now. That's what we're doing when we're talking and you're listening, or you're watching a seminar or reading a book. You're gathering some information. The second layer, or second stage of learning, has to do with locking it in, what I call locking it in. That's where you take the note. That's where you write it down so that it doesn't slip out of your mind and like everything else does. An existent system independent of your remembering it. You can go back to it 10 years later and there it is, it's written down so that you have that thought captured. So I call that locking it in. There's gathering, there's locking it in, then there's sharing it with another. Like, hey, I learned this. Look, I read this thing I learned. You share it with somebody else and you discuss about it. And so that is called sharing. And then there's a final stage called teaching, where you actually live by the thing that you've learned and you teach it to someone else. Then your cycle is complete. Then you've mastered it. Then it's who you are. It's no longer a concept or something you've written or you're trying to remember or share. You become this. It becomes a principle that you're living by that you could teach to others. And how you know you're living it is they get it. They write it down. They start living by it. That's called mastery. A master is not somebody who can do anything at all the times. A master is someone who teaches others to be masters. That's a master. A master teaches others to master their own life. How you know you're a master is others' lives are getting better. Not necessarily yours. Yours is fine. Others' lives are getting better. And so the calls are coming in, and I'm going to go ahead and take some, and then we'll talk some more about that in a minute. Hello, this is Gregory, and you are live on the air.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Excellent, thank you.
I was talking to you back about a few weeks ago about my teenage son. If you remember that I told you that he's not following any rules, he's skipping school, he's not going to school, and then after we talked for a while, you suggested that I put his stuff outside and get the key from him and let him go by himself when he turns 16. I don't know if you remember.
That's some pretty stark advice. Did you take it?
Yes, I did actually.
How did that turn out?
I did it about 5 days ago. Like, he went out of the house for 5 days.
Okay.
I knew where he is, like sort of controlling him from his friend's house, and I know that I knew he's sleeping there, and I knew he's okay, but I didn't he didn't come back till last night. He came back, and then he was extremely tired. I decided not to talk to him that much. I just asked, did you think enough? Like, you were outside for about 5 days. And he said, yes, I thought about the rules and I'm going to follow them. That's what a quick talk that I have with him, just about maybe a minute or so. So I didn't talk to him longer. I decided to give him some time to relax because he was extremely looking fatigued and tired.
Okay.
And then he came in and he fell asleep for I think about 12 hours. He was sleeping even longer.
Okay.
And I told him, before he goes to take a shower, I told him that, okay, this is the rules. You're going to come on the weekends. You're going to come this time. On the weekdays, you're going to come this time. And I just sort of following reviewing the rules again.
Yes.
And then he said, yes, 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 and he took a shower, fell asleep. Now it's the day after, and he was supposed to come home at 5. Right now in Canada it's around 7 o'clock, and he's not home yet. So
Okay.
I just wanted, and I was really happy to see your show. I said, let's talk to you
Yeah.
and ask you what do I have to do right now. What's the next step?
Okay, well, you need to be there when he gets there, okay? Whenever he comes home, whatever time that is, you need to be there. Have you called does he have a phone?
He does. He has a phone, but I don't know why it's not, he doesn't answer the phone when I call him.
Okay, so it sounds like to me he may have come home to sleep one off.
Okay.
Maybe he just told you what you wanted to hear so he could get some sleep and get back into the house. Yeah, because obviously you always want to pay more attention to people's actions than to their words, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, especially when they're tired and especially when they have a record of not ever keeping their word.
Yes.
Yeah, because this person is somebody who relates to themselves as a liar anyhow. Their own personal relationship with themselves is that their word, their promise, has no value whatsoever. So when they give it, it's like if I gave you Monopoly money or something to buy a car, and told you, I'll be back tomorrow with with real money.
Yes.
I think you made a couple of mistakes, but you've never done this before, so, you know. Already, congratulations for taking a tough stance and having him leave the house because he didn't want to keep the rules. However, when you let him back in, you should have shown him the key to the house and say, you're going to have to earn this.
Yes.
And here's how you earn it. You keep your word with me for a week, and then I'll give you the key. But you don't get to just come and go anytime you want until you've shown me that you can come and go when you agree to.
Yes.
Right? So every time somebody breaks the rules, so to speak, okay, the bar gets higher. If you get a traffic ticket, the next time you get that same traffic ticket, they usually charge you more.
Yes.
Right? If you keep getting the same traffic ticket, they take your driver's license.
Yes.
At least that works that way around here. So you don't keep just doing the same mistake over and over at the same price.
Yes.
It costs more each time, right? So now he's broken his word again. It's got to cost even more to get back into the house. So why I'm saying that you need to be there when he gets home.
Okay.
And you need to take his key from him.
Okay.
And say what I just told you. If you want this key back, then you're going to have to keep your agreements, and I mean not even one agreement can be broken. All right? And I'll give you this agreement when I've decided that I can trust you. Other than that, you're a guest in this house, and you're on a trial basis. You know? And living in this house has some rules, and you don't follow them, so you don't live here. You're a guest here. I live here, and you're a guest.
Yes.
It's more difficult to teach somebody that they have to keep the rules after they're used to breaking them all the time and getting no consequences for that. So you have a little bit of work to do, and you're doing great. Don't give up on that. And I would really urge you to find a man that he admires, if there is one, that he respects or looks up to, and have him help you and support you to get this guy back in line. I'm sure he's a good kid, but I've raised a boy, and when they get 16 or 17, they get very rebellious, especially from their mothers. So it's an important time in a young man's life to have a man to help them make the transition from boyhood to manhood. And by the way, I want to refer you to an organization that is founded by a friend of mine, and it's called Boys to Men. BoysToMen.com is a website. Go take a look there. There's some good writing there, and there's some good pointers and good ideas. I don't know how much you will be able to participate in it from Canada, but it is in upstate Massachusetts, the organization. But I believe that it's spreading throughout the northern United States. Boys to Men, a very good organization, all about exactly what we're talking about. Not every boy has a father that lives in the house that can give him some guidance and discipline him and be a mentor for him. But this organization is about that. It's about men of all ages, mentoring and fathering, if you will, younger men, young men at about the age that you're talking about. Okay? Good luck to you on that, and thank you for your trust and for your call. Hello, this is Gregory. You're live on the air.
Yes. Hi. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you very much.
Good. I'm a single parent, and after my divorce, like 2 years, something about after my divorce, and it's been 5 years separate of him before divorce. Now I just met the American guy, and that we are dating each other. We just started like about 2 times now already. Saw him and for getting married. And we both are Christian. We both are agreed to have no sex, no nothing kind of like that. We just dating each other and knowing each other, and that's all. And he's a very good man. He's a very faithful man. But this is the first time, actually, it's about 20 years, I never met any other guy, beside my husband, my ex-husband.
So do you have a question?
My question is about when he's talking about his feeling.
Should I say any kind of my feelings to him too as well, or should I just be quiet and be silent and just let him to make sure that, just let
I
him
understand
to
your
say
question.
Just a stop.
So your question is...
Silent. I don't know what should I do. Should I say my feeling also, or is better not to say anything?
I think it's fine to share your feelings, and obviously, listen, if the man's sharing his feelings with you, it's appropriate to get it and to share your feelings as well. It doesn't mean you have to bare your soul. Yes?
Yes.
Everything in good measure. You've only been out with him 2 times, yes?
Yes. Yeah.
So there's a,
because,
it's...
I just wanted, to know, because I don't want him to think that I love him or I love him more than that he loves me.
Yes, I understand.
But
Listen, I understand you haven't dated for all these years, and now you're dating for the first time, and listen,
exactly.
I think it's precious.
This is the first time, and he's American. I never been with American
I know.
before,
Well, first of all, I want to acknowledge you. You're a very brave woman. You haven't been dating for all these years. You had a bad experience many years ago. Now you're trying it out, and not only that, you're trying it out with a different culture that may have different rules than you may know about. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's okay. But here's the thing you want to
completely
remember:
different.
he's a human being. And you are a human being. Just relate to him as another human being. He's a man, you're a woman. Keep it simple, right? He shares his feelings with you, that's great. Thank him for sharing his feelings with you, and when it's appropriate, or if it's appropriate, go ahead and share how you feel. Now, here's the only thing that I would watch out for, okay?
Okay.
Aside from being a little nervous and a little awkward, so what, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I would only caution you to watch out for one thing. Sometimes people who do not have good boundaries will attempt to make a relationship that is more intimate or more deep than is actually appropriate for the time. Have you ever met people where, like, you just met them and they're already like touching you on and saying, "Hey, buddy," or I'm talking about if it was 2 guys or something, right? Or they're relating to you as if you're old friends and like that, and you're kind of feeling uncomfortable, like, I just met this person and already they're calling me by some intimate name or touching me in a way that is how my friends from years ago might touch me. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's an awkward thing to try to say, but somebody who tries to create a relationship that is out of measure with what is actually so, what is actually true. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A 2-time relationship talking about marriage, it's inappropriate. It's getting a little ahead of yourself. For a 2-time date, it's like, let's see if there's a 3rd date. Let's watch and see if your job as a woman is to watch and see, does he treat me like a lady? Does he listen when I talk? Is he interested in what I'm saying, or is his eyes roving all over the restaurant looking at the other women? Does he treat other people kindly? Like, does he tip well? Men do not like be interrupted while they're speaking. They don't like somebody that talks over them or starts talking, won't stop while they're talking. And you've done that several times during this short conversation, okay? So if you're doing that with me, you're doing that with other people too. Be careful that when you're speaking with a man or anybody, there's kind of some rules that we all agree on, and it's important to keep those. I talk, you listen, you talk, I listen. I don't interrupt you. I don't jump on top of what you're saying and start talking as if you're not. That's just rude, you see. So make sure that when you're with a man on a date that, he's listening and not interrupting you, and that you're listening and not interrupting him. This way, you're both being respectful and showing how you want to be treated.
Thank you. And another question, when I should start to ask about questions about his life or his past or whatever he had done before, or how much money he's making, or those questions, when should I start asking him those questions?
After about a month.
Oh, really?
Let him volunteer those questions. In the best of all worlds, he's going to tell you about that without you asking. If you have to ask, then that's kind of odd, isn't it?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, if I came, it's like if I came and I threw out a couple of times and I talked about superficial things, but I never told you about who I am, what I stand for, what kind of career I have, what my plans are, and like that, but we just keep going out after 3 or 4 times, it would be kind of strange, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So you can ask casual questions.
Okay.
Well, it would be kind of weird, but you should at least give them a chance, right? Give them a chance to tell you those things. If you've only been out with him twice, it's a little soon to be asking that. And one of the differences, if you will, between maybe Americans and Persians, it's kind of understood in the Persian culture that if you're dating and you're of a certain age, you're looking at marriage, right?
Yes, exactly.
Americans were not like that.
That's it.
Americans were not like that. It's like, I'm getting to know you, and if I like you, I'll think about if I'm ready to get married, and if I am ready to get married, am I ready to get married to you? Because there's different stages for men, right? Men have to find out if they like you, and if you like them.
Exactly.
Right? And then they have to decide for themselves, am I ready to be married? And then if they are ready to be married, and he may be at that stage in his life, he may say, okay, I'm ready to get married. I'm going to go find myself a wife. In which case, you're a candidate, right?
Yes.
If he's already decided, I'm ready to get married, and I'm going to go find myself a wife, and he's taking you out, listen, he has no obligation to marry you or propose to you or tell you what his life's about. He's checking you out, and you're checking him out. So, he doesn't have to reveal his bank account to you.
Before we started to talk each other, we just, he said, I'm just dating because I just want to get married.
Good.
I don't
That's
want to
good.
have a girlfriend. And I say that the same thing to him.
Okay, that's great.
Saying,
Perfect.
okay, we don't want to have any kind of sex, anything. We just want to get, knowing each other and see if the kind of parts we are happy together, and then we can get married.
Perfect. Consider yourself at an audition. He may be dating a couple of women, and that's his right. And it's your right to date a couple of men if you want to. You're not having sex with them. You're going and having dinner. You're talking. You're checking them out. If you were going to go buy a house, wouldn't you go see a lot of houses?
Yes.
Yeah, you wouldn't just buy the first house that came along. I suggest you do that with a man that you're going to marry, and I would suggest to him that he do that with a woman he wants to marry. Listen, I'm ready to get married. I got a bank account. I got a career. I've got a few years left in my life that I really want to share with somebody. I'm going to try out a couple of people and see who I like. And he has a right to do that, and I would encourage him to do that. Don't marry the first woman that you like. If you like this one, make her happy, treat her right, tell her what she needs to know, and then, go see a couple of more. And if you're, sometimes you see this one and this one and this one, and that makes you even more sure that you're going to go do this one. I had that experience when I was single and I had met my wife, Azita. I knew right away I wanted to marry her, but I went, wait a minute, hold on. So I kind of looked at a couple of others, but every time I noticed, when I was out dating them, that I would be sitting there with them at dinner, and I couldn't wait till it was over. I just wanted to go and call Azita. I couldn't wait till I saw her again. So after having that experience 2 or 3 times, I decided, yeah, it's definitely Azita. I'm going to go date Azita and get her to marry me.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so just because you've gone on 2 dates with a man doesn't mean he owes you anything.
Of course not, yeah.
Right? He doesn't have to tell you about his bank account and his background and his whole life. That's an investment of his that he might make if he decides that you're the one he wants to marry. Then, of course, he should reveal all of that. And if he just keeps taking you out without telling you any of it, then it's appropriate for you to begin to ask him after 3 or 4 or 5 times, hey, look, we've been together a few times. I like you, but I don't have any time to just date around and keep going out to dinner forever. I want to know, where do you see this going? Magic words. Where do you see this relationship going? What do you see in the future?
Sorry, after he said that, and then I should start to ask questions about his life. Because I don't know, that's him that I like it, like his income, is that okay with me, or or his points or his background is okay with me. I don't want to get dating someone that, for example, he's not making that much, he's just, he's very lower than me.
I see. So you're mainly marrying for money?
No, of course not, but that's important for me.
But what if he makes less money than me?
Previous marriage, I paid all bills by myself for whole 12 years. That's why I got divorced. I got tired of bills. Always they've been on my old shoulder, and he was not. He didn't care about it at all.
Fair enough. Because in that marriage, you didn't interview the guy properly, right?
Yes.
Right. You didn't ask the right questions. So now you've learned your lesson, and that's good. Perfect. So Yes, there are some certain questions that you should ask.
Okay.
I'll save you a lot of time in therapy, and I'll save you getting married to the wrong person and having to get a divorce or something like that. I want to give you two pieces of resources that are very inexpensive and very, very valuable, okay?
Okay.
I want you to go to my website. There's the 12 stages of romantic relationship. Listen to those CDs about 4 times, because you won't get it all the first 2 or 3 times. It's deep, okay? There's a lot of information there. It's a CD set that I've made called the 12 Stages of Romantic Relationships, and it tells you exactly how to choose a mate, what to look for, when. There's timelines. You know, the stages are in timelines, and I tell you, after 2 months it should be this, after 3 months it should be that, after 6 months it should be this. And also my wife's book, Girl Talk, in which she tells from a woman's point of view very much the same thing, but she doesn't break it down in stages like I do. But she tells women how to interview men. The very important part that we're talking about here is inside of there is a marriage contract that I believe everybody should fill out before they get married. We sat in a restaurant together for 6 hours and had this discussion in which we ask each other about money, about time, about sex, about family, about religion, about education. We ask each other all these questions, and listen, there's certain questions that if you don't get together on, you should not get married.
Okay.
Because it will end in a divorce or worse. There's questions that you need to know to interview somebody to find out if they are a candidate for marriage at all with anyone. Some people want to get married, but hey, guess what? They're not qualified. You know, everybody wants a driver's license, but blind people shouldn't have one.
Exactly. Yes,
Right? Some
exactly.
people should
I
not
will
get
let
married.
you- Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. Hello, this is Gregory, and we're live on the air with Love Talk.
Hi. I have a relationship with a gentleman for last 15 years. I call it almost marriage.
Almost
And,
marriage, okay.
We have a good relationship when we are around the house and the home. But when we go to the outside the house, a friend's house or restaurant or any place else, he always tries to get the attention for another woman. To the point is like talking to them, or getting not boundary, getting too close with the person, and this is really bother me. And when I telling him these things happen, he denies. So I was going to ask you, can you help me with that?
You're what age?
Around 40.
You're around 40, and how old's he?
50.
He's 50, okay. And you've been together for 16 years?
Mm-hmm.
Living together?
Yes.
Okay, do you have children?
No.
My first question is, what's going on with you that you would allow yourself to get to be 40 years old? Did you not want to have children, or is there another reason why you don't have children?
Married. I do not want to have the marriage license with him. I don't want to get married.
You don't want to get married?
Right.
Did he ever propose to you?
Yes, he did.
How many times?
Couple of times, but I mentioned, we can live together all we want, but I do not want to get married.
Okay, well, what's that about?
It's just because his children and all this problem he had with the previous marriage.
So he has children from a previous marriage, okay. Is he divorced?
Yes.
He's a divorced man, so he's single, you're single, and you live together and you're not married. Okay, I got it. And did you never want to have children and a marriage and a family of your own? I mean, it's okay. I'm not saying you should have. I'm just asking.
I have a children to myself from previous marriage.
Okay, I got it. And so you didn't want to have any more children, right?
No.
And are you divorced?
Yes.
Here's the thing, you're not married, and he has no obligation other than his, if he promised you he would never flirt with other women or exchange sexual innuendos and sexual energy with other women, has he ever verbally ever promised not to do that?
No.
Not once, right? In his world, he doesn't have an agreement about that.
But he acting like he's my husband.
Yeah, but he's acting. That's the point, he's acting. And you're acting. You're both acting. You're both in a pretense relationship. It's a pretense relationship.
We just didn't want to have that piece of paper. But
well, yeah, but that piece of paper means something.
Like a married people.
Yeah, that piece of paper means something. That piece of paper is a contract, and those vows that you speak in front of the people in your lives, in front of everyone, those vows have a sacred pact. Listen, here's the thing. I'm going to use a metaphor. The boiling temperature of water is 100 degrees centigrade, yes?
Yes.
And when it's at 99 degrees, what you have is hot water.
Right.
And once it reaches 100 degrees, something happens. A transformation, a metamorphosis takes place in which water changes state. It begins to release oxygen molecules. It's called steam. It reaches a whole different, entirely different state of being that's not possible with hot water. You guys are like married, but you're like 99 degrees. That's it. Nothing wrong with it. It's just you never made the commitment and said, we are partners for life. I'm going to grow old and die with you. So to him...
Religion. We are married by the religion. We're not married by the American law.
By which religion?
Muslim.
Yeah, and do you have a piece of paper saying so?
Yes.
Okay, well then you're married.
But married in the mosque, but we don't have the marriage in the American paper.
Okay, well what does the Muslim religion say about fidelity? It says he can have 3 to 5 wives or something, doesn't it?
But he doesn't act like he wants to have a different wife.
Yes, he does.
Acting outside is like when we go.
Well, that's how he acts when you're there in your very presence, which is an insult to you.
I feel like even if they're close friends of mine, he just like he's staring. He's seeking attention from others.
Yes, I understand that. I understand that. And he feels that it's his right to do so. You're just the one he lives with.
And when I'm telling him, he just denies and he says, no, that's not true. Is you are sick and you making this is in your mind.
I mean, he can say that all he wants. You know you know what you're thinking. You know what you're seeing. Always trust your own mind, okay? Always trust your own thinking. Check it out with other people, but it doesn't sound like I would consider the source of that information as being perhaps faulty. Listen, you know what you think and you know what you feel. Here's the bottom line. If you're with a man who's doing something that hurts you, it hurts your feelings, it hurts your heart, it causes you to feel distrust, you've asked him to stop doing it and he denies it and says you're crazy, you need to move on while you have a chance, because he's not going to stop. Either he stops doing that, you say, look, I'm not asking you to stop. I'm telling you that if you don't, there'll be consequences. Here's the consequences. I'm going to move into another part of the house. I'm going to eventually move out until you start treating me with the respect that I deserve and treating me with and taking care of my feelings. This relationship will end. And if you don't have the guts to do that, then get used to being treated badly, because that's what he's going to do. Every time you stay with him after he's done that, you've taught him and trained him and given him permission over and over and over again to behave in this way with no consequences, which is exactly what he expects. Okay? You've taught him to expect that by staying around and allowing him to treat you that way. You've got to stop and put a boundary and say, look, this is over. You're either going to treat me with respect, always, even when I'm not there, because if he's doing that in your presence, guess what he's doing when you're not around?
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We're at the end of the show. My name is Gregory Morgan. I love it that you guys are watching, and these are great questions. Thank you. I'm honored to be a part of your lives and to participate with you. Listen, create boundaries in your life and you'll have healthy relationships. No boundaries, you will have nothing but pain. I'll see you back here again next week on Love Talk. Thank you for watching. My name is Gregory Morgan. Good day. Good evening. Welcome to Love Talk. When I talk about relationships here on this show in Embrace Growth, I'm talking about every